Well, the Dejounte Murray trade rumors came out of nowhere, and just like that, the Spurs have sold high on their all-star point guard as we approach the strong 2023 draft class. So how good was the return for Dejounte Murray? What pieces do the Spurs already have? And how good could the Spurs rebuild be? Let's talk about it. Now, when you look at the Dejounte Murray trade, it is fair to be disappointed by no young player being acquired. But 3 future first-round picks and a first-round pick swap for a player the caliber of Dejounte Murray is far from insignificant value. Would you like to have acquired a young player in return? Certainly. But 3 first-round picks, in my opinion, is still fairly good value for a player the caliber of Murray. He's coming off one of the best seasons of his NBA career, an all-star appearance, and with only 2 years left on his contract, if the Spurs wanted to cash in on the value of Dejounte Murray, well then now was the time. He likely will not have a higher value while on this contract. What also makes moving on for Murray right now a smart decision is the strength of the 2023 draft class. The Spurs with this trade are now finally, years after the removal of the Tim Duncan era, are committing to a rebuild instead of sitting in the middle of the pack and competing for the play-in tournament. This allows them to finally have some top-end lottery picks, something the Spurs haven't had in a very long time, specifically since they took Tim Duncan. And, having a good lottery pick back then certainly helped propel them to being a pretty darn good team. So with the 2023 draft class having the potential to be one of the best in NBA history, all of the stars aligned for this to be the right time for the Spurs to move on from Dejounte Murray. So with the rebuild now incoming, how promising does it look? And what pieces do the Spurs already have? Well, first off, Jakob Poeltl is nearly guaranteed to be traded by the 2023 trade deadline, if not throughout the offseason. Poeltl only has 1 year left on his contract and is a bit past the timeline of this team, and the Spurs will net at least a first-round pick in return for him, which can add to their growing war chest of future first-round picks, which they can use to pick or to trade down the line. As far as young players that are already on the roster that could be a part of this rebuild, well, the Spurs already have quite a few for a team that is starting the rebuild right now. Keldon Johnson quietly showed last season how productive of a future he has in the NBA. He was known as primarily a slashing wing throughout his first couple of seasons in the league, but he proved last year to improve significantly as a three-point shooter and become a sharpshooter as he significantly improved his efficiency while shooting 7 to 8 attempts per game. As he enters his 4th season in the league, his 3rd playing regular minutes, expect him to take a big leap forward again next season, especially with the void left with the departure of Dejounte Murray. Devin Vassell is also considered a breakout candidate by many for next season after a good step forward from year 1 to year 2. There's no doubt Devin Vassell has upside as a very good shooter and scorer and could become a very important part of the Spurs' future. I just hope that he can start playing at the 2 and not have to be a full-time small forward, as he lends himself to be a true and much better shooting guard than he is forward. Joshua Primo is a 2021 lottery draft pick who did not get much time in his rookie season, nor did he show many positive signs, but that shouldn't be alarming. Primo was one of the youngest prospects in the draft who was drafted for upside, not for immediate impact, and will take some time to develop, but certainly still has potential to be a key part of the Spurs rebuild. And Tre Jones is not as significant as previously mentioned players in terms of his value as a high upside player, but he is a solid young player currently on the roster who can play make a bit, he can defend. He's a solid backup point guard. Nothing more, but is still someone to mention when talking about young assets that are currently on the Spurs roster. The Spurs also have a nice group of rookies that are joining the team from the 2022 draft class. Jeremy Sohan is a very good defensive wing out of Baylor who brings great size and length to the wing, something the Spurs seriously lack on their current roster. His offensive upside remains to be seen, but he has the potential to be one of the better defensive wings in the league, and that in and of itself will make him a very valuable player for the Spurs. Malachi Branham was a very efficient scoring guard in his freshman year at OSU and will look to help fill the void of Lonnie Walker's departure. And Blake Wesley has been selected as a freshman out of Notre Dame, adding to the Spurs of young guards. And that is just to mention the Spurs young core already on the roster before the true start of their rebuild. Moving forward, the Spurs have all of their first-round picks, meaning every year the Spurs tank moving forward, they will have a chance at acquiring an elite tier talent via the draft for the first time since taking Tim Duncan first overall in the 1997 draft. Yes, it has been 25 years since the Spurs have had a top-end selection. They also had the flexibility to move their picks in a trade should the opportunity arise, alongside the many additional first-round picks that the Spurs currently own. Those picks consist of a Charlotte 2023 first-round pick, which does have heavy protections on it but could eventually be conveyed, a Hawks 2025 and 2027 first-round pick, alongside what will likely be a Bulls 2025 first-round pick. 4 additional first-round picks, alongside all of their own between now and 2027, gives them a ton of flexibility to add more young talent, trade up in the draft, or package many first-round picks together to make a splash in the trade market. The point being is that the Spurs have a multitude of assets to start their rebuild before they even have gotten a chance to select an elite level talent at the top of the lottery. They have promising talent to develop alongside a multitude of picks that can net them elite talent over the next few seasons, either via the draft or via trades. The Spurs have been stuck in the middle for a while, but they have finally committed to a rebuild thanks to the trade of Dejounte Murray, and they finally have a chance to build a competitive playoff team, not just be a borderline play-in team. And with the assets they currently have and the competence of the front office, Spurs are in a pretty good place to become a regular playoff team in the Western Conference once again. That's my thoughts on the Dejounte Murray trade and the rebuild ahead for the San Antonio Spurs. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more NBA content. Thank you guys for watching.